the battle continues. We're either battling with traffic, battling with the police, traders, or we're battling with the minds. We're talking stress, the battle with stress in your life. It's going on between your ears, they say. The battle is in your mind. It's in your thoughts life. The human body desires peace, serenity, and a calm mind. But you know, the buzzword of our society today is stress. So let's see how much of the stress we can de-stress this morning. I've got some beautiful ladies passing through, and we'll tell you something that you're doing on social media tomorrow, Saturday. Masha Bashiru is a clinical psychologist, and Anas Minira is a psychology student at the University of Ghana, Legon. So good morning to you, ladies.
Good morning.
Are you stressed?
A little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But you're yes. telling us, but you're stressed.
I know this question is coming up. I'm going to lie to you about what stress
But the point is that, can we even do without stress?
In the factual sense, we cannot deal without stress. Stress is part and parcel of our daily activities. So the idea about stress is that you need to understand what stress is. You need to understand how your body responds to stress. You need to understand what causes the stress, you know. And stress in itself is unavoidable, but it is how you respond to it, how you cope with stress that will determine the effect it has on you and your body and your mind as well.
And as you're students,
yes,
students also get stressed. There's so many things that stresses us. So where do you want to take this? Why is stress important? The issue of stress important to you?
I think it's very important because stress, like you said, we are all stressed in our daily lives. And it's not so much what is causing the stress as how you deal with it.
Okay.
That's why it's very important that we have the conversation so that you know how to deal with it so that it doesn't negatively impact your life, because you can't do away with it.
Yeah. So I take it that it doesn't matter what is causing it.
Yes. You can manage what is causing it to an extent, but what you have control over is your reaction to it.
Okay. Yeah. So let's get practical then.
Yes.
Let's talk about managing it. People are stressed either in marriage, spouse is stressing you.
Yeah.
Work, your boss is stressing you.
Exactly.
Your colleagues are stressing you. You have some lecturer who is stressing you.
Exactly.
You have some exams around the corner that is stressing you. You have children who are stressing you. How do you deal with it?
So first of all, you need to understand, as I said, you need to break down of what kind of stresses you have. So first of all, if you have personal stresses, for example, marriage, you need to understand the triggers. For example, if it has to do with paying the bills, if it has to do with your husband being outside, you know, staying late and all that. So it's about understanding first the root cause of it. So you break them down to understand what is causing it. Then you have a conversation. If it's a family affair, you know, you need to break down. For example, this month the husband pays the children's school fees. Next month he cannot afford it. So you sit down as a family, you break it down. So this is what we call identifying the triggers. You need to understand the root cause. You have employment issues. You have bosses giving you timelines. So you need to identify the kind of person you are. For example, if you're a morning person, you need to do all your stressful work in the morning. If you're the evening person, you need to shift the harder tasks for the evening and try to a little bit relax in the morning to do that. So identifying or organizing your time. So this is where work comes in. And bosses, for bosses, they will always be stressful because they kind of expect some demands to fulfill. And if you're not able to manage your time, you don't know your personal style of work, you don't know your personality style, you cannot be able to work. So this is an important aspect to understand the root cause of it. So it's not just about stress, you know. I'll go a little bit of breaking down what stress is. You know, we have good stress and we have bad stress.
Oh, we do have good stress?
We do have good stress,
wow.
and we refer to that as eustress, okay? And I'll give you an example. When you need to meet a deadline, okay, you'll be stressed because you're not prepared. So by giving you that stress, like tomorrow, you need to meet this deadline. So it gives you that sort of drive to take an action. You meet your deadline, you get your results. So that's a good stress because you were able to achieve your results. Another example we can think about is students. You have an exam to write. You can never be prepared for an exam. You know, no matter how much you study, you can never be prepared. Even on the exam, you see people flipping through pages like, oh, I feel I haven't learned enough. But you know, that gives that stress or that pressure gives you that desire to study harder. So that gives you the results you're expecting. So this is a good stress. However, when this stress becomes overwhelming all the time, okay, and you're not able to cope or manage the stress, then it causes alarm. You need to seek a specialist help to be able to help you or to teach you how to manage stress.
I think we should have a segment on stress, how to de-stress, every Friday on the AM show. Just a segment, that would be good. Because I don't know. So where do you exert that stressful pressure? Like, how do you unleash the pressure? Because sometimes when you feel the pressure, you either shout, and then you are doing all sorts of things.
It's good, Mami. Thank you so much for this. You know, we have something called effect of stress. So we have the physical effect of it, and we have the mental effects on the stress. So, for example, the first key, you can see somebody having headaches, tiredness. So this is something to tell you that the person has stress, okay? And this happens because I don't want to go so much into details about it, but we have a nervous system that's responsible for handling stress or fearful events. So we have hormones that release into the body, for example, cortisol or adrenaline. So what happens is that when we are faced with stressful events and we are not able to cope with them, the hormones keep on releasing and releasing, and your body becomes worn out. So this is what happens. So you see somebody who is stressed, having headaches, tired, they have high blood pressure because the body is overworking. So this is a physical effect of stress. Now we have the mental aspect of it. So now stress in itself is not a medical condition, neither is it a clinical diagnosis. However, it's heavily intertwined with our well-being, okay? So we have mental health can cause stress, okay? So I'll give an example of somebody who needs to take his medication, needs to check appointment, needs to follow his intervention plan. So this is a stress for somebody who is already having a mental health problem, because now the person is dealing with stigmatization of having the problem itself, and now the person needs to adhere to a strict schedule.
Yeah.
Now stress can also be a catalyst for a mental health problem. So in this case, we are looking at somebody who is not able to manage the stress, because the idea about stress is that there's a demand on your body and the brain. So when you're not able to handle that demand, you begin to break down. So this inability to always handle the stresses that come your way might lead to a disorder called anxiety. So anxiety is excessive worry about events that you have no control over.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one.
So this is linked to so many things.
Yes. So
yes. I was just going to say that maybe we'll leave some of the details for people to catch up with what you're doing on Twitter tomorrow.
Yes, exactly.
But please answer my question. How do you de-stress?
There are different ways of de-stressing. Okay, so first of all, you need to understand the root cause of it. So if it has to do something with not so much of a mental health problem, what you can do is we call it ecotherapy. So you go out, you know, to a nice place, a scenery, like they have in mountains, you go paragliding, you go in tourism. So you have that sort of relaxation, change of settings, change of environment. You also have, we have relaxation techniques. So these are trained specialists who teach people how to relax.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are some of the basic ones is like the breathing exercises. It helps a lot when you're stressed. The most important one I would say is taking a break, loving yourself, knowing when to take a break.
So if my, I cross the room from here, my boss is just there. If I go and he starts and I feel stressed by his comments because the show didn't go well, for instance, what do I do? Like get away and go and sit outside, and like what do I do?
That's a very interesting question. You know, it actually depends on the relationship you have with your manager. If he knows you're somebody who achieves your targets at this particular day or at this time of the day, I think he'll lessen a bit of his stress on you by giving you, okay, you know, you can do this at this time, but I would like to see this work done by 2 o'clock. Okay, so you can still go relax, you know, for 5 minutes, take a break, take a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and go back to your work. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you need to also know the style, the leadership style of your bosses. You need to know the kind of employees you work with. And one of the reasons why we are also here is to also educate corporate organizations to understand the importance of including stress wellness programs to their employees.
Fantastic. Anas,
Yes.
you were doing this on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about how this is going to go down. You have a conversation on stress on Twitter.
Yes. We'll be having the social media handle for LDM, that's Life Development Movement. It's LDM_GH.
Okay.
The live chat will be happening tomorrow at 5 p.m. You can join in, just use the hashtag stress awareness. you want people to join in as much as you can, even if you can't do the full hour. Just come and give your experience, because it's important that we all know how stress affects us. The way stress affects me will be different from the way stress affects her.
Yeah.
So that when we know that you do not discount the stress of somebody. So for instance, when you are stressed, maybe you have an upset stomach, somebody has just a headache, so that you do not discount that person's headache because you see it as lesser than yours. So it's very important that we all join in and share our experiences and also learn as much as we can.
Okay, so you'll be on the...
Yes, I'll be on the panel.
Okay, so this is from 5 to 6?
Yes.
So who else? Who else is there? Or you're alone?
No, we have other
and
colleagues of ours joining in as well. Yes, they are also psychologists, and we also have a counseling psychologist as well on board.
Okay, but so is this something that you keep doing?
Yes, we've already started it some time back. So this is like a teaser to the Mental Health Awareness Week, which is in the second Monday of May. So this is a teaser for every month we have a program to do something on mental health.
Oh, that's nice.
And April happened to be the stress month, so yes.
I think talking to you alone is relaxing me. So if you enjoy talking to somebody and they kind of relax you and they don't stress you, do you keep doing it?
Sorry, how do you mean?
No, I'm just trying to find a way of keeping you here on the show. Okay, but this is what we'll do. Maybe we can also share in after tomorrow. We can have another conversation and see the key issues that keep coming up. Wonderful. Because when you have more than maybe 5 people talking about the same thing, then that could be a problem. Or you may even have a lot more people who identify with that. So we can look at some of the key things that come up from tomorrow's conversation, and we can build on it, and then, you know, your services will be needed on the show.
Exactly. One of the reasons why we are doing this, because there's a lot of stigma attached to mental health. So people feel frightened to see other people coming into the hospitals to talk to psychologists, to talk to a therapist. So we feel that social media will be one of the best platforms to involve the youth to talk about their mental health problems, to share their experiences, and this also give us an idea of how best we can, modify our approaches to fit our culture in which we are in.
Okay, all right. So Masha and Anas, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will catch up with you after the conversation, but we'll also join in 5 p.m. tomorrow on Twitter. Handle again?
LDM_GH.
Okay, all right. All the best with that. We've got a wrap of showbiz. It's coming up right after this.